Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Quest. What would a Rosenbrand JRPG Let's Play be without a awkward hiatus somewhere in there? Sorry about that everyone, really apologize for the delay. Yeah, I'm gonna try cranking out the rest of the series in a fairly timely manner. In fact, I have a fair chunk of free time tonight. Hopefully I can use that towards wrapping this thing up here. At least, record as many episodes back to back as I am able to before I should probably get going to bed. But yeah, funny story actually. Earlier today I rewatched the first 5 parts of this Let's Play just to kind of get back into the swing of things and make the transition as smooth as possible after the unexpected break. I just, kind of refreshed myself on what I had talked about previously, where we were in the playthrough, that sort of thing. And I'm like, alright, I am ready to record. And as soon as I opened up Audacity and my copy of Vegas to, watch my footage in or whatever, I just got hit with this nasty stomach cramp, and I'm like, I'm just going to lay in bed for like 3 hours this Sunday afternoon, actually, is what I'm going to do. And I was terrified I was not going to be able to actually record this, but thankfully I eventually started feeling better, and here we are now. But yeah, that was really unfortunate. It's not like I ate anything weird today, too. Don't know where that really came from, but it was like the universe was conspiring to not let me finish the Dragon Quest Let's Play. It was very unfortunate, but feeling a lot better now. I'm mostly over it, so that's good. And yeah, what we're going to do this time around is we are going to go back to this eastern cave. You may remember that there was a locked door there that we can now open up because we have access to the magic keys. So, gonna have to unfortunately go through these poison tiles again, but we can just heal up right after, and I recommend you just use a medicinal herb for that because we're gonna want as much MP as possible. We are going to engage in this game's first boss fight, and it's optional, so we could even, delay this more if we had wanted to, but yeah, we're on part 6 of 9 of this Let's Play, and we're finally getting to a boss fight. Isn't that something? So yeah, if you've been paying attention to the NPCs at all, you've probably already deduced that this boss is guarding over the captive Princess Gwaelin. It's this green dragon who, I do have to admit, makes for quite the formidable prison guard, if I do say so myself. This is quite the wall, We've already established this game is pretty simple for what it is. You only have one character to really manage. There's not a lot in the way of strategy I can really provide other than come into the fight with good equipment and level up a fair bit if you're struggling. Other than that, it's just a matter of healing up when your HP is running low and using Sizz to get some good damage out when you can. And yeah, I mean, that's really the name of the game here, is grind up to a point where you can actually take this guy down, and then just be cautious, when your HP starts to run low, use those herbs, use those heal spells. Remember that the herb is ideal because it may not heal as much as the heal spell, but it will, it's better to use that than use up your MP, which you can use to cast more fireballs. And just be cautious, you never know when RNG is going to screw you over, and some of his attacks are more damaging than others, definitely, so you want to take into account the damage variation there. And just play things safe, and you should be fine. Unfortunately, I came into this fight a little underpowered, but yeah. Whenever you fight the dragon around this point, which is when you probably should, it's going to feel a bit like a marathon. It really is just a test of endurance, but, what can you expect from a JRPG from 1986 where you play with one party member? There's only so much you can really do. I believe you can try setting the dragon to sleep. I don't really know how effective that is, really. I want to say that it can work sometimes, but as we've already established, a lot of stronger enemies in this game have a nasty habit of falling asleep and then immediately waking up, and you just both kind of waste a turn, and it's a waste of MP. So I think it's just kind of better off if you don't even risk it and just try to go for the more consistent damage of, trading off between heal spells and Sizz and your physical attacks when you start to run low on MP. And you should be fine. It's, I think it's worth noting, I already kind of talked about that, but we're really over halfway done with this game, and we're just now coming on to our first major, story relevant fight, which I think is actually very endearing. And I just try to, wrap my brain around it and think, what would that look like in a modern game context? Imagine the 60-hour JRPGs that we're so used to in today's time. And just imagine you don't get to a boss fight in one of those games until, like, around the 30-hour mark. Like, how ridiculous would that be? I would love to see a game do that just for the sake of it, to see if they can make that work. But yeah, like I said, we came in a little underpowered, and we ended up dying, so you know what that means. It's time to grind. Alright, and we are back in the town of Rimmeldar. We were just to the south, grinding up our money by fighting the gold golems to the south of here, kind of in the southeasternmost portion of the world map, if you remember, kind of near that shrine. You just saw it in the montage that was set to Croc Legend of the Gobbo's music, which I know at least one of you watching probably appreciated, at least I hope so. Shout out to all my fellow Crockers out there. I don't think that's the name for Croc fans, but anyways, we are going to buy some magic armor, which is very fantastic armor that we are going to want to equip right away. In addition to just providing better defense against the dragon and its nasty attacks, it also heals HP as we walk, which is pretty cool. You can see I'm opening up the menu just to check it out there. Of course, it's never really going to heal enough to, like, be the most useful thing in the world. It's not like you're gonna take 5 steps and go back to full, but it definitely, it adds up over time. So it's just a nice thing to have on hand, and it'll make our journey much easier. I also believe I want to say the magic armor actually protects you against magic attacks a little bit better than the regular armor we've had up to this point, even too, which is something that I would need to research to say with full confidence, but I do believe the magical armor does actually... it's not just magical because it heals you, I actually believe it is better for defense against magic attacks as well. So, we are going to deposit some cash in our bank, just because, of course, if we die against the dragon again, don't want to lose all that money. What I really should have done is I should have, ground for some levels and that cash before going to fight this dragon, but hubris took hold of me, and I thought I could do it with the stuff I had at the moment. But no, should have saved up for that magic armor. And now we're level 12 too, which obviously that helps. I think the last time we fought this thing we were level 10, so hopefully with 2 more levels under our belt and a much more better suit of armor, this is going to be a breeze. So yeah, same thing applies as before. Just attack when you have fairly high HP. When things start to get a little dicey, feel free to heal up. Use the heal spell if you really want to heal, or if you're kind of in that weird, awkward middle point where you're not sure if you want to go all out on your healing, just use a medicinal herb. But yeah, as I was saying before we awkwardly died, which I was actually pretty sure we were getting close to the end of that fight too. I was a little salty. 69 HP, nice. Anyways. Sorry, I completely derailed my own train of thought with my immature sense of humor, but what I was trying to say, I actually find it really interesting that the game makes us wait this far into the game before we get to this boss fight, because what it marks to me is in a way kind of this transitional point where, if you think about it, storytellers are still trying to figure out, when Dragon Quest comes out, how to tell a fantasy story in the video game medium in a way that people care about, right? And what you have is what I think is more in line with what we see in fantasy literature leading up to this point than we do modern JRPG fantasy games and stuff like that, where, modern JRPGs kind of follow a loop, to oversimplify it, where you go through a town, you go through some story scenes, you go into a dungeon, fight a boss at the end, and hopefully some story stuff pops off, and you repeat that loop over and over again. It reiterates upon itself, and hopefully becomes more fun and engaging each time as your characters level up. You get more equipment and skills and tools to play with and have fun with. And, it can be, that's what we've come to expect from modern JRPG fantasy stories. But if you really look back and think about it, that's not what fantasy stories typically are like, especially in the literature side of things, or even playing tabletop RPGs back in the day. A lot of your early encounters in those fantasy stories for the main party, it's a lot of running away and losing and that sort of thing, and trying to deal with supernatural threats not through fighting but through escaping them and trying to figure out how to deal with them, or what you need to do to deal with them. And I think Dragon Quest I actually kind of embodies that spirit that we see in fantasy stories up to this point, where it takes some time before you're able to face your first major foe. Up until then, it's a lot of exploration and scavenging around to get magical artifacts and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. And I managed to somehow wind down and complete that as soon as we beat the boss, which was perfect timing. So yeah, we rescued the princess, and she looks a lot like Princess Daisy from Super Mario Brothers. I had this conversation earlier in the year, and it actually became a heated debate in my group of friends, where we discussed if Princess Peach or Princess Daisy is more interesting of a character. All Nintendo characters are pretty simplified and just kind of very simple personalities. I said Peach, some people said Daisy, some other people said Peach. It was a whole complicated thing. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you more of a Princess Peach person or a Princess Daisy person? We all know that Rosalina is more interesting than both of them, but, that's just kind of a given. So yeah, this is great. I really love this. We just do this bridal carry with the princess as soon as we rescue her. We can take her back to the castle, but you can actually go through the rest of the game in this state where you're holding onto the princess in your hands. You will even get some funny dialogue in certain parts of the game with different NPCs, including, I believe, even the final boss, if you have her, if you're holding onto her as you're talking to them, which is just incredible. For such an early JRPG, that's such a nice little touch. So yeah, we're going to go into town a bit before returning the princess. We're not going to go through the rest of the game like this. I just wanted to, I wanted to show off the scene where we bring her back to the king. But some NPCs will still have the same dialogue, but, people like this guy will reflect the fact that the princess is saved. I believe some NPCs in other towns, their dialogue changes too, but I do believe that the vast majority of the changed text while you have her in your hands is actually right here in the first town, which, makes sense. It's their princess, so... And you can get this other girl to follow you again, too, so, just got the full party train going. They should be able to fight alongside you. Get 2 party members right after the dragon fight. That'd be funny. But sadly, no. We will go back to traveling as a lone wanderer shortly. And this is something that I wanted to check. I believe this is the case, and maybe I'm making this up, but I don't think I am, and if I did make this up, I'm kind of distressed at the state of my own mind, but I do believe in some versions of Dragon Quest, if you use the inn while either Princess Gwaelin is in your arms or that lady is following you, the innkeeper will make a suggestive comment about what you did together. I'm pretty sure that exists at least in some versions of this game. If I somehow manage to make that up in my mind, again, I am very distressed, but I want to say I am not making things up, and that's actually a thing that exists. But at least in the modern Switch version, I don't think that dialogue occurs. And I don't think it happens in the original either. Maybe it's in the Game Boy Color and Super Famicom versions only. I don't know. I'm sure someone in the comments can elaborate. Or maybe I'm just believing weird nonsense that I came up with in my head, and like I said, if that's the case, I deeply apologize, because that is a weird thing for me to make up in my head about this otherwise wholesome JRPG. It's not really that wholesome. We had the Puff Puff earlier, but you know. Oof, buddy. Buddy, we gotta respect women. Let's talk to this kid. Not the pillar, the kid. Curious adult business. Yeah, big mood. I think we talked to that guy already. Oh no, this guy doesn't care about the princess. He just cares about battling beasts. I think both these guys say the same thing, so I didn't bother checking. Yeah, all these guards say the same shit. Again, once again, I apologize for going through some of this text a little fast. I am so sorry. I should have paced myself better. My one regret in this Let's Play. I really don't know if the simper was necessary there in the parentheses. So then we can use this, which is the Princess's Pledge, and we can use this to check how much experience points we need to level up without having to go all the way back to the king and saving our game, which is pretty cool. It also has another use on the overworld map, which I'm not sure if I'm going to show off right away, but we'll definitely need to use that secondary feature later on in the game. I think I decided to save before we went out forth again. Good idea, past me. Cycling through our saves here. And once again, setting forth for the wilds, now that we've essentially done all there is to do, mostly, in the eastern part of the map. We still have a whole chunk of the western part of the map, specifically the southwestern section that we need to explore. Tons of fun stuff going on over there, and also some more challenging fights, and, you know, a couple more boss fights ahead of us. Or at least one, but yeah. Get some medicinal herb from our dealer. Always good to stock up before going on a long trip, if you know what I'm saying. And with that magical armor, we should be able to make it quite a ways and not have to worry too much about running low on MP, because we got to stop and heal and all that. So, yeah, the magical armor is, like I said, just really good for increasing your overall longevity and how far you can go into dungeons or on any sort of overworld journey. Do I take out my cash? Am I taking out my cash? I think I am, yeah. Little risky, but going for it. If I die, it's my own fault. And let's make our way to the west here. Don't gotta worry about pretty much anything at this point in the northern part of the map. Beat all these foes in one hit. Even the foes over kind of by the western cave, like the skeleton and iron scorpion, or not iron scorpion, but just the regular scorpion and such, don't have to worry too much about either at this point. Can't do much to hurt us in any meaningful way. Now we're not going back to the cave. Going south of the cave. You may remember we had some encounters here earlier, and this is kind of where the random encounters get more difficult and scary. And especially within this town, gotta be careful in here. You can see it's fairly dilapidated, and something went wrong here somewhere along the line. And yeah, unfortunately, breathing fire does not count as casting spells. But yeah, these things can hit like a truck. Everything in this destroyed town can really beat the shit out of you, so you gotta be careful. Just another reason why I shouldn't have taken that cash out of the bank. But we're gonna try our hand at beating the shit out of this Cosmic Chimera. Got a critical, so... Whew, good thing we did. I don't know if we would have won that if I didn't get that crit. But yeah. The risk, I don't think, is worth the slightly better than average experience points and gold that we're getting from these monsters here. This is a dangerous area, like I said, so we're maybe gonna want to not dally around here. We're gonna leave town, and I'll see you next time.